Hey YouTube guys out there, I'm back with another vid. I just want to talk about credit in general. I've been doing a lot of prospecting. I hired a professional telemarketing company to kind of canvass the US to align myself with some partnerships with some credit repair companies out there. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of talk about just some of the hypocrisy I'm hearing. And it's really, really alarming. Let me give you an example. So I talked to this one individual who was a little apprehensive about one of my specialties, which is trade line boostings, where if you're not familiar with that, basically what that is that you rent somebody's credit and that gets transposed onto your credit profile, which makes it look like that account has always been on your account from the very beginning. Hence, a boost to your credit. Very effective. So this one particular person said, hey, Kevin, I understand what you do and how you do it. I understand the concept very well, but I just have a little, I'm uneasy about that. Is that like a false way of manipulating the credit system to get a higher score when you really didn't earn it? So I paused and I said, well, that's a good question. But the irony of all this, folks, was this. This individual said, hey, I also use that method for my daughter, and she now has an 800 credit score because she's on my credit report. So I paused for a minute and I said, okay, so this is what you're telling me. You have an issue with my business model because there is no spousal or family relationship connected to the authorized user. You have a family relationship with your daughter, but you're still using your own credit profile to quote unquote game the system to falsely accelerate her credit score. So you're justifying using authorized trade lines when it's a family member to game the system, quote, right? But when I'm doing it because there's no relationship between the primary card holder and the person who's renting that credit, now all of a sudden it's unethical. So we agreed to disagree. He also agreed to possibly refer some debt settlement, but he did not want to move forward referring trade line boosting to my company because he was a little bit uncomfortable with that. I thought that was a little hypocritical. Obviously, I maintained my professionalism and just ended the conversation with polite, we'll agree to disagree. So here's what I feel about that, right? Here's my credit rant about that. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been up and down. I pretty much have a perfect FICO score. Mine's about 815, 818, but it didn't used to be that way. It used to be well below 500. But I developed my own credit through sweat equity. But here's the irony of this. This is what I really wanted to say to this guy. Like if we were just sitting down at a bar, having a cocktail and just talking about real life issues, right? So this honor system about honoring creditors is a bunch of malarkey. And here's why. I've been doing this for 13 years, right? So you tell me out there, what's fair about a husband and wife? The husband, let's say, unexpectedly dies, leaves the wife without adequate finances. She has a couple of kids she has to take care of. They've always paid their bills on time for like 10, 15, 20 years. Now all of a sudden she's reaching out proactively to her creditors to, let's say, want to come up with some kind of creative way to rework her payments. And then they tell her no. After she's made her payments for 10 or 15 years, you're going to trash this lady's life and her credit because of a misfortune. Tell me how ethical it is for someone to go overseas, right, and serve this country, come back missing a body part or being a paraplegic and being placed in a wheelchair, and then being in the 11th hour of being foreclosed on because their disability check is caught up in VA bureaucracy and no one's helping the veterans. Tell me how much obligation and ethics we have to creditors. You don't have any at all, right? At least I don't think so. And the irony of this, right, on a macro level is that how many business owners out there brag about the accountant that they have that effectively took their personal tax income rate, let's say from 25% down to 6%, and then they brag about the fact that they have this great accountant if you need one, He can push it to the limits. He can take it right up to the line, but not cross the line. How many people brag about the fact they have a very salient, acute attorney that knows all the intricacies of a particular law, can exploit said loophole, and even get a client off a criminal charge, right? So there's all kind of things that we brag about, but when it comes to credit, there's supposed to be some moral obligation we have to creditors to see things through. I do not subscribe to that. What I do subscribe to is honoring your obligations, and when you can't do that, use any means necessary legally, right, to allow yourself to get some wiggle room or to avoid paying at all. And the final irony with this credit repair company is this, and a lot of credit repair companies out there do a great job, right? But here's the point that I wanted to make. If you know this business, how many frivolous letters repeatedly get mailed to Equifax, Experience, and TransUnion trying to find some loophole or trying to inundate the system where they can't respond within 30 days, so now they're required by law to take that mark off your credit report, even though it legally should be there from the beginning with. So isn't that ironic that that person finds trade lining borderline unethical, but the very practice in which they operate and are profitable in is basically unethical? And you can make an argument there's more ethics issues with that way of doing business than trade line boosting. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to, let's say, rant about the ethics of credit and creditors. I'm going to come out with some more videos within about another week or so that's going to be more germane to how to reduce your debt and improve your credit. Once again, this is Kevin Strong from Strong, Jacob & Associates. We are based out of Federal Way, Washington. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We specialize in business and credit debt matters. I hope you enjoyed this vid and stay tuned for much more. Thank you.